Olivia Wilde has been in the news lately. She's, I don't know if this is her directorial maiden voyage or not, but this Don't Worry, Darling, it's got a lot of problems, okay? I don't know anything about the script, don't know anything about the movie itself, but all the controversy surrounding it is kind of overshadowing the film, okay? And I guess it involves her fiance, boyfriend, I don't know, man. I used to really like Olivia Wilde at least in the context of she was hot as shit, but now she's old and crazy and took Jason Sudeikis' kids away from him, so I'm not exactly all that hot on her anymore. Just kind of one of these broads who ended up hitting, her late 30s, deciding, oh god, I just don't want to miss out on anything else. I cashed in my chips with somebody who is very successful and famous, and I just think that I gave away all of my youth, and now I just want that last grasp. Now I'm just gonna fuck a guy in a dress. It's like, oh my god, again, modern women making great fucking decisions. But we got this review of this film. I don't want to read all of it, but I think it's exactly what it tries to sell itself as. And then we'll get into the controversy, okay? Olivia Wilde's latest feminist flick, Don't Worry, Darling, is a mid-century modern-themed fever dream. Sounds like asshole cancer. Both for its heroine and audience. Do you need heroin to get through it, though? In the time-warped town of Victory, California, Alice and Jack, played by Florence Pugh. Didn't she not want to do any publicity for this film? Because I thought I also heard that on top of everything else associated with it. And Harry Styles drink vodka martinis, have lots of sex, and conform to strict gender roles. Oh, my God. This is just another one of those fucking sob stories. Oh my god, that was just like my previous relationship. So then you decided to cast your current boyfriend to have sex with somebody who kind of looks at least a little bit, minus the titties, a little bit like you. Okay, to have simulated sex and simulated drinks. Okay, but yet conform to strict gender roles. I don't know about that, man. I think you're missing out a gigantic point there, but you do you, I guess. Like all other couples in their cul-de-sac, they engage in swinger parties. No, Jack brings home the bacon by working as a technical engineer. What the fuck is a technical engineer for a mysterious victory project? The company responsible for their cookie-cutter marital bliss. Oh my god. Alice plays the housewife to keep their idyllic homestead spotless, looking pretty, and making sure dinner's always ready on time. Sounds great. Minus all the other hedonistic shit, except for the lots of sex. That's totally fine. But getting drunk all the time, that sounds arduous and fucking waste of time. But not everything is what it seems. Of course not. As Wilde makes sure the point is drilled into her audience's head again and again, as if Adam Naiman at the Ringer notes, there's got to be a pop quiz. Oh, so it's that on the nose? How adorable. This is literally modern media. That's why I punched out a long time ago. Wilde certainly has a penchant for metaphor. Oh god, are they heavy-handed? Great. And when her heroine starts questioning her seemingly perfect life, again, hypergamy doesn't fucking care. You can have the perfect life, but if there ever is that itch out there, oh god, is this the best I can do? Women will make terrible fucking decisions. That's why men always have to be on their game, okay? In order to keep the woman of your dreams, you have to be the man of her dreams. And that requires you constantly keeping on your fucking grind. Doesn't matter if you guys are 16 or doesn't matter if you guys are 60. The man always needs to be at least 1 to 2 steps ahead of the woman at all fucking times. Because the moment she sees you bitching up, you fail too many shit tests in a row, guess what? She's going to be looking elsewhere for that inbuilt, that little bit of an itch that she requires for security that she doesn't see in you. This almost sounds like you could view this as some sort of a red-pilled film, but I highly doubt it. Thanks to the invention of another disobedient housewife. Oh, the intervention, sorry. She starts feeling suffocated. Cue to the scene where Alice attempts to asphyxiate herself with saran wrap. That sounds just a touch contrived, but okay. Don't quite get it. Wilde throws in another walls closing in realization by literally having the walls close in on Alice in a somewhat dramatic hallucination. Oh my god, this sounds heavy-handed and fucking terrible. There's another redeeming moment in the film. Oh good, does everybody die at the end of it? Crisp cinematography and impeccable costume design aside, after Alice finds out the truth behind the Victory Project, she has a choice to make. She can either stay in the seemingly perfect world, married to Jack, the love of her life, and she can leave, and take all of the consequences that come with that. Like what? I don't fucking know. I don't care. Like if you're married to somebody and if you guys don't have kids or anything like that, it doesn't really sound like it. And again, this isn't supposed to be a review of this fucking film. I just want to eventually parlay into how Jordan Peterson ended up crying over this nonsense. But even if this was supposed to be a mid-1900s period piece, all of the divorce laws were already on the fucking books, okay? And that society was already coddling women to such a high degree that, you know what, hey, what's the detriment to ending a divorce just because I don't feel like it? No consequences really to speak of. In essence, Alice faces an Oedipus-like drama. Oh, did she find out that her husband was her brother? God damn it. Choose to accept the harrowing reality of the truth, freedom, and accompany misery, to choose happiness and live a lie. Oh, who fucking cares? There's more feminist drivel to just reinforce women's terrible fucking decision-making capacities. Great. All in all, don't worry, darling tries too much. With an unclear target. Is it men, the patriarchy, incels, or Jordan Peterson? Yeah, we'll get to that, because that's just the latest in a long string of controversy surrounding Don't Worry, Darling. I made mention of it to begin with Florence Pugh refusing to do any sort of publicity. Seem to recall that as well. But something, at least at the premiere, a little bit more significant, okay? When Harry Styles went to go sit down by Chris Pine, who was also in this film or something like that. And you can kind of see it. We'll play it there, but it looks like he spits on Chris Pine as he goes to sit down. We'll just go ahead and run that back one more time. I don't want to get struck or anything, but it looks like, yeah, he leans over, doesn't look at him or anything like that. Okay, he's clearly clapping for him as he goes to sit down. And then he checks his hand, okay, and yeah, it's just like, yeah, unfucking believable. I don't know if he wipes his hand or anything like that, but yeah, Styles doesn't even pay Chris Pine a fucking moment of his time. So I don't know, like, this happened earlier. Oh, I guess not even this month anymore. We're in October already? Fucking Christ. But anyways, no. This came out at the beginning of September. Okay, it's like Harry Styles spits on Chris Pine because there's not enough controversy surrounding this film. So let's just add another layer of absurdity on top of this. Did Harry Styles spit on Chris Pine? Mystery woman has video proof. Speculation is still swirling around Harry Styles and Chris Pine after the pop heartthrob, I guess dress enthusiast would be a little bit more appropriate, but tomato, allegedly spit on his co-star at the 2022 Venice International Film Festival. The incident occurred right before the world premiere of their film Don't Worry, Darling, further fueling the drama surrounding the star Florence Pugh and Styles' director lover Olivia Wilde. According to the video, which was captured from several different angles, Styles subtly hucked a loogie in Pine's lap, and he was taking the seat next to the Star Trek actor. The video from the exchange has gone viral and has been dubbed Spitgate by several social media users. However, the existence of new evidence is being rumored in the form of a mystery woman who is sitting behind both actors and may have caught the entire exchange from her phone. Yeah, because all we've seen is just that framing of it so far. At least that's all I've seen of it. And again, I haven't really paid that much attention to it. Now fans are taking to social media to demand the unknown woman come forward with her conclusive footage. I guess you can see her back there with, I don't know, is that an iPhone or something? I don't know. I don't keep up with fucking current technology. We need your testimony, wrote one Twitter detective in all capital letters. Ugh, thanks, pop-up. According to the photo taken from the event, it was seated 2 rows behind the watermelon sugar sink. What is that? And Pine as the closest person in the altercation, except Wilde, who again wouldn't really want to add anything else that could be taken the wrong way on top of this already fucking smoldering dumpster fire, would she? Well, comparing, I guess, the villain to this film to Jordan Peterson, basing it off of him, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Okay, like, again, I really respect the work of Jordan Peterson. Never, ever, ever get that fucking twisted, okay? But I always found one area of his lacking, okay? And it always stems back to a Joe Rogan interview. I don't remember exactly which one it is, and because Joe Rogan doesn't give a fuck about his back catalog, it might already be deleted or something like that. But he was sitting down there, and I remember this clear as fucking day. Then Joe asks him, okay, what about the responsibilities and the need for your message for women? And then Peterson just looks across at him and says, well, I don't really know if women need this message because maybe they just have enough on their plate already. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. So you want to add commentary about today's relationship standards and you think that women don't need to contribute anything on top of it and it's just all of the burden needs to land on men. Okay, cool. So that's why I just always found that it's like, okay, cool. Well, I'm just going to take that as a self-improvement message. But on top of that, man, it's just kind of worthless advice and it doesn't really build and doesn't really help anybody. Outside of the confines of a relationship, Peterson does great fucking work expanding on everything that he talks about, okay? Like pronouns and actually his takes on, you know, the Russia-Ukraine war and bringing in fucking devout neocon Kagan, not the fat ass that sits on the Supreme Court, okay? And that really just continues to cry all the time and don't even mention his daughter, because that's an entire other fucking treasure trove of worms. But I have both of his books, his both 12 Rules for Life books, okay? I don't have Maps of Meaning or anything like that, just because I like hard copies of things, and the Audible of it might be a little bit arduous to get through. But I think his insights on world events are invaluable, okay? His dissection of societal ills are truly second to none. He might have lost a step since he's gone through all of his health issues and his family's health issues, but he's a much more potent ally than realistically anybody else on that intellectual bench, okay? What do you want? The takes of Sam, I don't care if Hunter Biden had body in his basement, Harris, or Stephen, oh, okay, we'll just go ahead and fucking default dance because Joe Biden won the election, Pinker. The bench is pretty fucking shallow, okay? And he is definitely the all-star hitter out there. So I think Olivia Wilde is very much missing the mark when she says that, oh, Jordan Peterson is just the king of the incels, or whatever the fuck she actually said. And it's like, it makes no goddamn sense because, well, again, it's just somebody who just simply sees a clip about somebody, oh, he criticized feminism, I'm a woman, ergo a feminist, therefore this guy's bad and he needs to be canceled. Oh, he called some fat whale on the cover of Sports Illustrated not beautiful, not stunning and brave for doing that, therefore he's a terrible person. Man, it's just whatever fucking dog shit takes are today. Dr. Jordan Peterson's name has been in the news recently about him crying during an interview when he was asked about the comments Olivia Wilde made about him. I haven't actually watched the clip myself, and maybe we should do that first and foremost. Okay, let's see if we can get at least a little bit. It's only 30 seconds long. Make sure it got the sound and all that kind of good stuff, and okay, the sound's turned off. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and play this because, again, we need the proper context. Because I've heard conflicting reports on this. Okay, he was either evoked to cry because Piers Morgan's fucking worthless ass. Somebody who I'm currently astounded continues to find work anywhere that he goes. Like, that dude is inconsistent in his takes. Like, if there's a more unreliable ally, I couldn't name anybody worse or more fitted for that position than Piers Morgan. But I've also heard that, yeah, the way that he framed the question was what evoked the tears from Peterson, but that could also just be a day that ends in Y because, again, stop fucking crying so much. But let's hear what he actually had to say, I guess.
Promotional, talk about that.
Well, God, you know, it's very difficult to understand how demoralized people are. And certainly many young men are in that category. And you get these casual insults, these incels. What does that mean? It's like, well, these men, they don't know how to make themselves attractive to women who are very picky, and good for them. Women, like, be picky. That's your gift, man.
Okay, yeah. And again, nothing's terribly wrong with his assessment on that, except for just, you know, telling women to be picky because they are just naturally. And that's, yeah, of course, that's their fucking prerogative because, again, they need security for a lot longer than they have their peak sexual market value window available to them. So they have about a 10-year span, 18 to 28, okay, of their peak beauty, their primary agency, in order to secure a life partner, okay, a resource dispensary for the subsequent 50, 60, 70 years, hopefully, God willing, for as long as it fucking takes for the rest of their life. So yeah, they need to be picky. They need to be attracting the best mate that they possibly can. They need to have that hypergamous question answered every single day by the person that they choose, by the man that they choose. But you can't talk about that stuff. Peterson won't even talk about that stuff. He will just say, just like society at large, it's totally fine to call a man a loser. It's totally fine to just point at somebody, you're just a useless incel. You're never going to see a body positivity movement out there for men because men have to perform. There's an invisible burden of performance on men that just isn't there for women. Okay? Those are the rules. You can't do anything with them. You just need to know how to play the game in order to engage. So again, trying to paint Jordan Peterson as the avatar for incels, that's, again, just a misinformed take, because, again, this is all the stuff that people that I like and respect that are out there, okay, like Andrew Tate, okay, you talk about this exact same stuff, but no, he's just that evil misogynist. He's the person who said that women can't drive, and that if there's a woman on a plane, he would just leave because he doesn't like woman pilots. Do you listen to anything that he says? No, I seen a TikTok clip. Okay, guys of that cut. And then what Olivia Wilde's take on Jordan Peterson is, oh, he doesn't like trans people, so that makes him a bigot and an incel. Why? Because he won't suck the feminine penis? Like, is that where we're at this point? Like, I don't fucking get it. But again, yeah, that's how Jordan Peterson ended up breaking through in the beginning. 2014, 2016? When he just said, yeah, no, I'm not going to listen to the government compel any speech because I see where that rabbit hole goes. And he was right. And again, that's why I think that he's vital to society and the health of it. But no, it's just much nicer to make the old man cry, I guess. Oh yeah, so despite being insulted by a Hollywood A-lister, most people are likely not familiar with Peterson. Again, he's been internationally famous for the better part of a decade at this point. What are you talking about? The emotional moment from Peterson came during an appearance on Fox Nation's Piers Morgan Uncensored on Wednesday. Oh, that's that show that tried to trap Trump in an interview, but then it's like Trump's like, no, you just completely cut everything out of context. Nobody cared about it. So you had to bring Peterson on it and make him cry in order to get some attention for you. See what you're doing there, Piers. Morgan had asked Peterson about the Don't Worry Darling director, calling him a pseudo-intellectual hero to the incel community. Pseudo-intellectual. Well, he's kind of like a doctor. He's a practicing clinical psychologist. Like, the dude is, you could drop the pseudo part. He's the intellectual hero to the incel community. What's the incel community? Okay. Oh, the losers of society. Well, okay, as a feminist, okay, as somebody on the left, aren't you about raising up people? Isn't this about equality? No. Of course not. Because you can always shit talk men. Because men are losers, and it's been open season on them for fucking generations at this point. You just outed yourself without outing yourself. Congratulations, you played yourself. In an interview magazine, and Peterson responded by tearing up, saying, you know, people have been after me a long time because I'm speaking for to a disaffected young man. Yeah, exactly. He goes out on his tours, and if you ever see anybody that's in the audience, yeah, there's more men than women, but there's still women out there. So again, both sexes benefit from his message, which Wilde doesn't even know. She was just making some offhanded comment. Yeah. He's just the incels like him or something. And if you'd ever ask her to define what is an incel, she wouldn't even give you a proper definition. Involuntary celibate. That's what it means. It's like these broads running around just saying, oh, that guy's a misogynist. Well, what does misogynist mean? Men who are mean to women? No, it's the hatred or detestation of women regardless of sex, you fucking mongoloids. Peterson is a media personality known for his conservative views on issues. Conservative views? Or realistic views? Or outside of the confines of relationships, rational views on things. But he once was simply known as a clinical psychologist and a professor. He spent time as an assistant and associate professor at Harvard. Pseudo-intellectual, right, guys? Yeah, that's normally what you get. He published several influential papers on familial alcoholism and other issues. Canadian return to his home country. But you probably don't even know where he was born and raised. For me, that's about 2 hours in that direction. 2 hours north for me. Oh, no, sorry, not even that far. About an hour and change, depending on how fast you want to drive. Fairview, Alberta. Not that far from me. I got a picture of it on my phone. I used to drive through there all the time for my previous shitty jobs. Peterson stood out for his books, writing bestsellers, Maps of Meaning, The Architecture of Belief, Beyond Order, 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos. Yes, have 2 out of the 3 that are there, obviously. His public stature began to grow as a result. Well, actually, it started to grow before that, after he released Maps of Meaning, because that came out in 96 or 98. But again, it's just Newsweek. You guys don't have to get everything right. He became recognized outside the intellectual community due to his controversial views on transgender rights. Actually, no, he just said that he wouldn't use, and again, you totally missed the fucking point when it comes to this stuff. Just like Olivia Wilde did, and just like everybody else does, especially when it comes to people who quickly rise to prominence. People who end up getting caught up in the entire phenomenon of too much, too young, too fast. Now, of course, Jordan Peterson, not exactly the youngest motherfucker who's out there. I think he was born in 63 or something like that. But anyways, yeah, like this dude, he's a man of a certain age, okay? But again, he went from being, yes, a clinical psychologist, okay, somebody who has a certain lot in life, to being one of the most recognized and most publicly relevant figures in the world. Same thing happened with Andrew Tate, which is funny because they both kind of have Peterson's daughter in common. Should have exchanged notes somewhere along the way, but no, what was he talking about? Okay, yeah, which he laid out in a series of YouTube videos in 2016. Well, it was one video that he put out there saying, well, I'm not going to say your goddamn words. You can't make up words, and I'm not going to say them. The fact that it was all about made-up pronouns, that's the only link that you have to transgenderism. And even, you know what, he also admitted, if he met a trans person and they were nice and respectable to him, normally in proper conversation when you're just addressing somebody one-on-one, you don't use a pronoun in proper grammatical speech. But if he knew the person, respected the person, and they wanted to use opposite pronouns to what their biological sex was, he would capitulate. But again, you don't need to know that. All you need to do is just say he posts transphobic content on YouTube. Why doesn't YouTube get rid of him? Among his divisive stances was his refusal to refer to students by their chosen gender pronouns. Again, that's just not true, but okay. If anybody was going to be using them in order to make him say something that he knew was untrue, that's where that would come in. But outside of that, it's totally fucking wrong. It's a misinterpretation of the facts used in order to further a political agenda. One especially notorious incident came from 2016 when Peterson was filmed speaking to transgender students. He argued to them that their activism and political correctness in general had a negative impact on society. What a bigot being correct 1000%. The video racked up millions and millions of hits on YouTube, and Peterson was soon bragging to Joe Rogan about he learned how to profit from controversy. Yeah, exactly. Ooh, look at you marketing on attacks. Something that people have been doing for a long time, okay? There's a reason why people have, SJWs with fucking laser eyes in every one of their thumbnails. It's funny, and SJWs are easily triggered. So again, hey man, fucking monetize the hate. Why not? It makes fucking sense. But again, it's Newsweek. Funny. This author is just big mad that somebody else is getting paid. I'm sure Newsweek cuts you a check for your services, but alright. I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. Because I think it's so goddamn funny. I can't help but say it. I figured out how to monetize social justice warriors. Peterson said on Rogan's podcast in 2018, If they let me speak, then I get to speak, and I make more money on Patreon. If they protest me, that goes up on YouTube, and my Patreon account goes way up. I did it. But again, it just goes to show you how long ago that was, because he was still on fucking Patreon. Oh, but again, let's try and paint him as so stupidly right. He's just a bad man. Peterson received criticism this summer on Twitter. He posted a message at misgendered and dead-named actor, Elliot Page. Oh my god, because the motherfucker wasn't getting work and then just decided, I'm just going to go under the knife and that's going to get me more work, right? I'm just going to reprise my role in Umbrella Academy, okay? And then they'll just have an offhanded remark. It's like, hey, guess what? That female character is now a male character. Cool, we'll continue to go. What's that? The show's been canceled after the season? The fuck. But anyways, yeah, but that was after he came back after saying that fat ass Yumi knew, whatever, yummy, fucking 35 on BMI, model on Sports Illustrated magazine. Absolutely pouring out of a two-piece, and he's like, not beautiful. I don't care what you say, I'm not gonna say it. Talked about that at the time. He's like, I'm leaving Twitter. It's like, good. And then he came back and dead-named the former pregnant girl in Juno, Elliot Page. Make that make sense. Shortly after he tweeted about Page, the Daily Wire announced that he had signed a multi-year deal to host Peterson's podcast. Yeah, so he's a part of that fucking neocon consortium. God bless. Haven't watched a goddamn episode of it. More recently, Peterson upset people with a tribute he wrote for Queen Elizabeth II following the monarch's passing, in which he wrote that no country had done more to eradicate slavery than the United Kingdom. Facts. It was the first country on earth to abolish slavery. Hey, if you want to get mad at that, we'll fucking get mad at history. And go watch the fucking Woman King if you want a distorted recitation of events. But that's the king of the incels, right? According to Olivia Wilde with her failed fucking disaster of a movie. Can't get enough attention for yourself. You know what? Hey, we'll just go ahead and drag somebody who's got more clout than I do. Seems to work, right? But with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.